Imagine waking up to a world where every single volcano on Earth decides to erupt at the exact same moment. From the towering peaks of Mount Fuji to the hidden giants beneath Yellowstone, from the Ring of Fire to the volcanic fields of Iceland, all 1,350 active volcanoes unleashing their fury together. This isn't just a natural disaster. This is a planetary reset button being pressed. Today, we're diving into one of the most catastrophic scenarios imaginable. What would happen if all volcanoes erupted simultaneously? Let's find out. Within the first 60 minutes, the world as we know it would be unrecognizable. Picture this. Massive pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds of gas and rock reaching temperatures of 1,000 degrees Celsius, racing down mountainsides at speeds exceeding 700 kilometers per hour. Nothing survives in their path. The immediate death toll would be approximately 800 million people live within 100 kilometers of an active volcano. Cities like Tokyo, Naples, Seattle, and Mexico City would face instant devastation. Jakarta, home to over 10 million people, sits near multiple active volcanoes. In Indonesia alone, with 127 active volcanoes, entire islands would become death zones within minutes. But the horror doesn't stop at lava and pyroclastic flows. Volcanic earthquakes would trigger tsunamis across every ocean. The Pacific Ring of Fire, hosting 75% of the world's volcanoes, would generate waves that could reach 30 meters high, wiping out coastal cities from California to Japan, from Chile to the Philippines. The sky would darken almost immediately. Volcanic ash columns, some reaching 40 kilometers into the stratosphere, would block out the sun across entire continents. Day would turn to night. In the first week, volcanic ash would become humanity's new enemy. We're not talking about the soft ash from a campfire. Volcanic ash consists of tiny fragments of rock and glass, sharp enough to shred lung tissue with every breath. Global air travel would cease instantly. A single volcano, Eyjafjallajökull in Iceland, grounded European flights for 6 days in 2010. Now multiply that by 1,350. Every airplane would be grounded indefinitely. The ash would destroy jet engines, and visibility would be near zero. Infrastructure would crumble. The weight of ash accumulation, up to 20 centimeters in some regions, would collapse roofs, power lines, and communication towers. A mere 10 centimeters of ash can cause buildings to fail. Cities hundreds of kilometers from the nearest volcano wouldn't be safe. Water supplies would become contaminated. Ash would clog water treatment facilities and poison freshwater sources with fluoride, sulfur, and heavy metals. Agriculture would face immediate collapse. Crops would be buried or poisoned. Livestock would die from inhaling ash or from starvation. The global death toll would climb into the hundreds of millions, not from lava, but from ash-related complications, infrastructure collapse, and the breakdown of supply chains. By week 2, something even more terrifying would emerge: a volcanic winter. The massive amounts of sulfur dioxide injected into the stratosphere would form sulfuric acid aerosols, creating a planetary sunshade. Global temperatures would plummet. In 1815, the eruption of Mount Tambora, just one volcano, caused the year without a summer. Global temperatures dropped by 0.4 to 0.7 degrees Celsius. Now imagine 1,350 Tamboras erupting at once. We're looking at a temperature drop of 10 to 15 degrees Celsius globally. This isn't just colder weather, this is an extinction-level climate shift. The growing season would vanish. Even in tropical regions, frost would become common. Photosynthesis would slow dramatically as sunlight dims to twilight levels even at midday. Famine would sweep across the planet. Global food reserves typically last only about 60 to 90 days. With agriculture completely halted, mass starvation would become inevitable. Billions would face starvation. Societies would fracture. Nations would collapse into chaos as desperate populations fought over dwindling resources. The irony is brutal. We'd go from volcanic heat to a frozen planet. Glaciers would begin advancing. Ice sheets would expand. Earth would end. After 3 months, survivors would face a planet utterly transformed. The human population, possibly reduced by 70 to 90%, would be scattered in small, isolated communities. Modern civilization would have collapsed. The darkness would. Volcanic ash and sulfuric acid droplets could remain in the stratosphere for years, blocking up to 90% of sunlight. UV radiation levels would fluctuate wildly, causing skin cancers and damaging whatever plant life remained. Ocean ecosystems would collapse. Phytoplankton, the foundation of marine food chains, requires sunlight for photosynthesis. Their die-off would trigger a domino effect, killing fish populations and devastating any survivors who depended on the ocean for food. Acid rain would intensify. The sulfur dioxide and other volcanic gases would create precipitation with a pH as low as 2 to 3, comparable to vinegar or lemon juice. This would poison remaining freshwater sources, kill surviving forests, and make soil too acidic for agriculture even when temperatures recovered. Technology would regress by centuries. Without power grids, fuel production, or global supply chains, survivors would return to pre-industrial survival methods. Knowledge would be lost, libraries would burn for heat, humanity would enter a genuine dark age. So what if all volcanoes erupted simultaneously? We'd face the closest thing to a planetary extinction event outside of an asteroid impact. Within a year, human civilization would be unrecognizable. Billions would perish. The survivors would inherit a frozen, toxic world where even breathing would be dangerous and finding food would be a daily struggle. The good news? This scenario is purely hypothetical. Volcanoes don't coordinate their eruptions. But it reminds us of something crucial. We live on a dynamic, powerful planet. One that can create and destroy with equal force. And perhaps, that's exactly why we should respect it.